let's move on to the core of elements, like in the context of somebody who's joining as a fresher, or somebody who's just completed MBA or MSW, or somebody who's at a different role, let's say front office or customer care. If they want to start their HR career, like what kind of different HR designations are available, or what are the technical skills or certifications? Is it like a guide where you can provide some insights? Maybe I'll start with Shrita.
Yes, sure. This is really a very great insight for the freshers, those who are willing to enhance their career in HR. Yes, for freshers, yes, currently the MBA will be the first prospect, or any certification in HR or MSW like this. They will be the grade for the HR freshers, those who are like, yes, they can start their career like as an intern in as also they can switch their career in HR, those who are having background from various graduations. That is one also. Yes, there are lots of types of certification those who can done, but for HR they should understand the profiles. There are the various profiles in HR, as a recruitment or talent acquisition. There is a slightly difference in recruiter and talent acquisition. As a recruiter, those who are having the calling experience, and talent acquisition who can shortlist the profile. This is a small difference for initial stage. Yes, there is the also functions like HR generalists, those who are handling all operations parts. The various functions like learning and development, compensation benefits, and diversity and inclusion. And yes, definitely the those who are aware about labor laws. That is also, these are the very small functions in HR. Those who are willing to pursue their career, they can start with these uh, profiles. That is the thing. These are the various profiles, and yes, there are lots of certification. After stage wise, they are enhancing the career. For initially 1 to 2 years are like HR interns or HR freshers, those who are handling this activities. Those are working on these activities like Excel, attendance, payroll, like this. Those who are working in guidance of seniors. After completion of 2 3 years, minimum 3 years in HR function at the junior level, they can have some certification like HR generalist. There are lots of platforms, like LinkedIn is very good platform currently. There are LinkedIn learning options they can opt. Also, there are lots of certification like SHRM, Udemy, skills updates. These are the lots of platform where they can do their certification to enhance, to uh, move their career in HR at senior level. Like for entry level, it's assistant and coordinator job type, designation types for 1 to 3 years experience. For mid level, post 3 years, 3 to 7 years, like that, they are can be able to go for with certification and do as a HR generalist, executive, TA specialist, uh, for junior or junior HRBP, like this. Uh, Also, there is one segment for separately for payroll specialist. These are the various segments, those who can enhance their career in up to 6 years, like this. And post 6 years, they can six more than 6 years or 5 years, they can go for as a senior HR, like compliances, learning and development, performance management. These are the stages of HR. So this is the career growth. We can say career insight in HR, how we can step by step move ahead in HR. Because people management, it's a different thing, and working on Excel and documentation is a different thing. So at the junior level, moving towards senior position, you should know the very minute things in HR. It's not only documentation, it's not only Excel. How people can be drive. So considering these stages of HR, you can able to understand what peoples are required in your organization, what management is required in your organization through HR. So this is like this. And
I
if you
mean,
are,
somebody who wants to start, these are the available options where they start
yes,
from HR, payroll, TA, multiple other options. I
yeah.
just have one question, like, so when you started your entry level, typically on what role you joined and what was your daily responsibilities?
Um, For me, I have joined as a HR recruiter. There are the two
Hmm.
things for recruiter. There are the two things that you can get knowledge of what industry is asking, what are the requirement of current organization, and second thing, the communication skill. When you started the calling job is the very much good thing that you can develop your communication. That is the two insight for this. A recruiter will be the very good start for the to start off in HR. So for there are the lots of segments, the IT industry, food industry, pharma industry. So there are specific requirement for the recruiters. They should understand their specific requirement. You can able to handle the multiple portals like Naukri, LinkedIn. There are lots of things. You can able to work on Boolean search, like this type of things. So this is the thing which can connect with people. So there are lots of experience you can gain in recruitment. And yes, definitely there is a timeline. So that is also one thing we can learn as being an HR, as a recruiter. Yes, can able to work on time management too. So I
Okay,
suggest,
okay.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm. So when you joined, like you might had an imagination, okay, HR role might be like this, but in reality, there might be some gap elements which could have realized over a period of time, let's say 3 months to 6 months, you could have realized, oh, okay, this is not what I thought of. Like what was the preparation gap or role gap you had that you scaled up over a period of time? Oh, okay, I was imagining like this, but there is some expectation from this role, so I need to scale up. So for the interest of audience who are getting into this recruiter role or a TA role in any MNC or staffing firm, what exactly they should have a preparation in both technical side as well and as mindset or soft skill wise, what exactly is the preparation which you as a person who have prepared and what you can advise to the people who are at the entry level?
Surely, for technical side, the actual requirement for the position, the person should understand while recruiting. Person should understand the requirement of hiring manager, what he or she is looking for. You should have a very good thought on JD which we have received while recruitment. And yes, definitely you should be able to enhance your searching skill. Like for Naukri, we should have a Boolean search. Same like for LinkedIn, you should have this types of, and you should able to understand the portal requirements too, because there are very much restrictions while using portals for hiring too. That is the one thing. Yes, and for the human behavior, you are very much good experience while getting recruitment, because uh, we are just calling the people. Face to face is the different thing, but calling is a very different scenario. You should be calm. You should be understand what he or she is doing, because for hiring the some this it's a normal mindset that people are sitting in front of someone and we are calling them. Maybe they are not in the mindset to talk with this. Yes, this is the thing. And for recruiter, from calling to joining, it's a very crucial part. You should be stay connected with people. You should be calmly connected with people. And yes, definitely one point I would like to mention here: you should understand the whole systems and policies of your own organization. You're hiring for which. So that's the only thing benchmark you can attract the talent, and you can retain the hiring team, or you can retain the upcoming talent. That is the one thing. You should have a depth knowledge for both things.
Okay, I'll come back to you on dive deeping into the subjects more. I'll jump on to Invent right now, and having got this introduction of multiple layers of openings of for HR, like is it mandatory to have MBA or MSW to join as a HR, or any degree is okay? Like you are all 10 plus years experience in this field. Now, somebody, if you want to recruit as a HR or recruiter, do you see MBA or MSW as a mandatory element, or any degree is okay? What is your thoughts?
See, adding to what Sheetal ma'am had bifurcated over here, I would like to add few more shades to that, because see, when you're looking at a fresher, I'll look at a career plan like with 8 pointers. So the first one would be the educational foundation. So it can be like a bachelor's degree in HR or an MBA or something related. That's one thing, the basic one to start with. The second would be choosing your path. See, HR has to look at the entire life cycle of the employee. So you have a lot of touch base points over there. The individual has to do a self analysis or a SWOT to understand where he can fit himself across. There are different skill set for each role, like as a recruiter or as a HR operations or a compliance, a learning and development, or a HRBP, or a diversity and inclusion, or you're looking at a brand evangelist or a brand ambassador for the organization. So there's a different skill set for each of these touch base points for a HR. So he need to understand what plan he has for himself or herself. So that's how he has to choose his path across, and then how he can begin is with small internships or networking events he can participate to collaborate to understand what are the role requirement. See, knowledge would be given through this educational platforms and different thing, but what is being dealt on a day to day basis will be little more uprised when he connect with peers or from mentors. So he need to have that networking and internship so that he understand how the industry works and what is the role requirement. Then he has to look at the skill building, so what role he is choosing and how do he build his career into it. The next would be entry level roles. See, he can be like a HR intern or a HR assistant or a talent acquisition guy. And then he can look into different portfolios. So then next is when he develops these skills across in that role, he need to look at upskillment. So upskilling, he has to look at how he gets certified in higher certifications which will transform his career, either as a specialist. From a generalist he can move into a specialist role or a evangelist role. And then he also needs to have a career plan. Is he going to do a pivot from a recruiter to a operation guy, or into diversity, or what is his interest area? Because over a period of time we also evolve as a human being, so our expectations also change. With our experience we also learn, so we also look at a pivot. So can he look at a pivot at that range? For me, see, I believe I have transformed from engineering to a HR role. So what I had done is I had not come the traditional way. So recruitment is not what I have started with. I have started with compliance, people connects, people engagement, events, and then come into the role. So for me it was a challenge to understand what is recruitment, because I don't understand sourcing. See, if you give me profile, I'll speak to him, I'll convince him and get him on board. But how to get that profile, the fitment, it's a challenge for me because I have not done that. It's missing in my career. So now to deep dive into that, I look at simple KSA: knowledge, skill, and attitude. I look at what is the attitude of the person for the organization. Industry wise it might be different, but is his fitment, a cultural fitment happening into the organization, is what my key uh, push would be for any role. Because see, what he has done, what he could do, that's a difference between potential and his expectations, his experience. So are we looking at we can look at him not only as an individual, but what capabilities he can bring in. So education will just be a, what you say, entry level point. See, if he knows, if he has a degree from these areas, it will be easy for him to understand the terminology and get a
Terminologies.
kick start, a first starting up. Otherwise he has to take, he or she has to take some time to understand the role and then kick start in. So it's like, do you have the kick to start on your own, or somebody else has to give you a kick to start? So that would be the
Right,
difference
right.
if you are looking at a people with a HR background or a HR without any background. I believe degree is just for an entry point. We have a lot of
I think
people without
that is
any
a good
degree.
news for that is a good news for all the other degree people who want to get into HR, because from outside world, if you look at the perceived understanding about HR is somebody who will call for me for an interview. He will do a personal interview, pass on to someone, and then later he will negotiate for salary and release my offer letter. That's all my understanding as an outsider towards HR. But there are a lot of a deep dive verticals which many people can't even understand. So in your opinion, like if somebody, let's say like 5 years he was into a different job, let's say customer care or front office or even finance and accounts for that matter, but he's has a fantasy to get into HR as a career. So is it like is there any certification where he can kickstart with that, or he has to go as a recruiter to get an understanding about the nuances of the HR function? How do somebody who can be at a middle level, let's say there is one more scenario like people, I mean, especially women who stop their career after marriage. So if somebody wants to start their career, is there any entry points where they can get into HR and start with that? Can you throw some light on those aspects?
See, it's a choice that person has to make what role he has to deep dive into. See, when I mentioned the HR life cycle, it is from recruitment, onboarding. His life cycle means his performance management, his assessments, everything will happen. His career plan, then his exit and offboarding. But he still, that employee still remains as the brand ambassador if we had treated him well in the organization, right? So for a person from zero level or any level, if he or she wants to come into the HR fraternity, they need to make a choice what's their area of interest. Like for example, you give an example where a person from the financial background has to come into the HR space. So the easiest way to come into HR space for them would be handling comp and ben or the payroll experts,
Okay.
because they come with a financial literacy and financial nuances. So
Okay.
that is easy for them to come into the payroll management, payroll input, taking care of compliance, payroll related
Mm.
compliance, labor related compliance, and they can make a career in that. They can also look at now the terminology. If you want to look at the fancy words, it's like comp and ben specialist or total
Mm.
rewards or the benefits plan. So that's how a finance person can roll into a HR function. See, now it's
Mm.
not about only the HR, it's about how a HR business partners with across the organization. So it's not a support function, it's an enabler function. So now if you have somebody from the sales team, he can also become a recruiter or he can also become a brand ambassador for the organization, because he understands the company. The HR is the first brand ambassador for the company, because he is getting the future people who will transform the organization. So you can connect the sales and the marketing people into the HR space for the brand specialist. That's one way to look at a transition. Now you have engineers. A lot of the engineers are coming into the HR fraternity because we come with mapping of process re-engineering. What earlier we had was the HR role was very transactional. So with engineers and people from the different industries have brought in the fresh perspective of transformative HR. I'll connect it to Dave Ulrich's model. So you have four quadrants. You have HR as administrative function, one as employee champion, one as strategy, and one as change management. So earlier the role, if you look at the HR transformation itself, we have evolved from a personal manager into a human capital and a human experience. Now HR, a lot of organization doesn't have HR, but they say it as a people department or a people experience. HR
Mm.
has come to a place where he has to look at all the stakeholders, and he has to look at a exceptional experience for every one of the individuals in the organization and across. So this
Mm.
is I'll connect it like from administrative task, he has to be a champion for the organization. So strategically he has to look at progressions, role bifurcations, performance management, looking at what can be the next steps done for the business transformation. That would come in the strategy part to some extent. Now you are also having people who need to do the basic administrative tasks like your operations team and everything they will do, which is also very critical. See, you need to get those things done, then only the other people in the HR teams can do their work. See, if the HR operation doesn't have a proper data, cleaned up data, you can't have inputs for your payroll, you can't have inputs for your data integrity, you can't have inputs for your learning and development, you can't have a skill matrix. Nothing can be done if the administrative function of the HR is not working. So critical things is you evolve and you learn, but keep your basics intact so that you can jump into different roles in the organization from the HR perspective as well, and from different industries as well, and from different degrees as well. So pivots can happen. Only thing, like Tanmay and Abhijit told, the transition phase will be a little bit of a challenge where individual has to take ownership for that transformation.
Beautifully put up. Like, I mean, it will act as a center pillar for the entire organization where they have touch points in different business units because they are the extended hands of the management when somebody is starting their own organization and have influence in every other part of it. Like, say they sometimes they get a I mean hit from both the sides. Management is also hitting, and from the employers. I mean, employees also getting a lot of employees also getting a lot of feedback and firing because they are at the center where employees will think they are an extended hands of management. Okay, so sometimes that is a little troublesome for senior HR people. But in the context of getting into the role and other things, we need more input. Like as you rightly said, like it's not mandatory to start with MBA or MSW or anything that demands from an IT or data science perspective. Rather, it is more towards your passion, mindset, and your own people management skills, which truly mandatory required. Sheetal, my one question to you will be, in my understanding, HR is a sitting job. So is my understanding right? I will be very comfortable sitting in a job 9 to 5. I'll enjoy my job, send some emails, phone calls. That is all. Very, very stress-free job. Is my understanding right or wrong?
Yes, people are having a thought like HR is just only 9 to 6 job, which is uh, I I I I don't know. I'm not agree. I clearly mentioned use this term. I'm not getting agree for this terms people are doing. Uh, for working as a people manager or working for employees or as a strategic planner or everything. As a being an HR, you don't know what surprise you are getting in morning or in afternoon. You totally unaware about which situation you are going to face. So I think this is not a sitting job or desk job. Yes, you have to check, you have to work on how daily functions are going on because every individual is different and people those who are any concern or any thoughts to share or anything conflicts is there, people are used to approach to HR first. So this must aware people are getting aware about there is someone who is there who is listening to us, at least listening. So, firstly, it's not a desk job. That is one thing I clearly mentioned because being an HR, if there is any conflict or any concern has happened within the organization, you should very much aware about company's policies because whatever you are going to have a conversation with the concerned team. So that is the one thing you should aware about company's policies because the management and business strategies are very different. People are thinking, people thought process is very different in any organization, and there are lots of level in the organization. We do have working in manufacturing. Their manufacturing team mindset is very different. If you are working in IT industry, the project programmers thought process is different. So you should be ready for every time, whatever it be the situation. You should have a that much efforts, or you should have that much guts to handle the situation as of now. Whatever it is going on, the first instance you should have the passionate thing or mindset. I will match the situation for right now. The decision will be taken on later on. So I don't think it is a purely desk job. Yes, definitely people management is really critical. You should have some proofs with you. There are lots of things happening in industry. There are different types of people. There are different types of scenarios. There are different types of compliances, like as Abhijit had mentioned, the women concerns. There are lots of things. So I don't think it's a we should no HR should agree for this days job from 9 to 5 days timing. Yeah.
So I'm just getting an understanding that he should come with a spontaneous mindset, proactiveness, like how a salespeople mindset is there. Typical mindset should be there for a HR to take a
Yeah.
spontaneous, fast decision making. Proactiveness is something by default expectations from anybody who's entering into the HR fraternity.
Yes.
Beautifully put up. Okay.
GS,
Yeah.
GS in Hindi there's a कहावत, सबके लिए HR है, HR के लिए कौन है?
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Few times ago, there is a article which is very much float on LinkedIn. There is no HR for HR.
We have
Right, right.
become so much empathetic that this kind of forums is what we get our energy back. So by
Yes.
connecting with other HR fraternities.
Right, right, right. So that we assemble and cry for ourselves.
GS is
Right,
like a
right,
therapy session for us.
Wonderful, wonderful. Little bit on the technical side, like I understand, like one of the major demand from any role for that matter is usage of Excel sheets. And typically for HR role, it is super mandatory skill which is required for HR to maintain their MIS or any tracker for that matter, because any HR, any role needs a tracker to maintain, right? So that's being said, HR remains Excel remains the basic skill requirement. So in your opinion and experience, is there any other technical skill set which is super mandatory to go on? Because right now in last 5 years, 10 years, there are a lot of new courses which is available in like HR analytics, multiple things are coming up. So you began in your career like a decade ago or 2 decades ago. So like in your evolving stage, what are the elements you have seen with your things in the market, and from your juniors, what are all aspects you have seen that okay, these are all the good technical skills good to have for a HR, where it can really help the organization in automating something or making things faster? Is there any technical skills where if I have to enter into HR, these are the technical skills I must have? Any pointers on that?
Yes, surely for entering HR, the Excel is very basic thing. Presentation, PowerPoint presentation is very different thing. So that is for entry level, you should have these things with you. But enhancing career in going step ahead. Yes, there are lots of application currently in industry are using just like a HRIS tool. This is the human resource information systems. So there are lots of software for this. So these softwares or this HRIS will help you to manage the employees attendance, their payroll, their in onboarding, offboarding, like this, to complete to manage the employee data within the organization. So there are lots of certification for this, like Workday, uh, SAP, Oracle. These are types of systems. Yes, for recruiters, you should aware about application tracking system, which is very helpful for recruitment and talent acquisitions. Yes, there are data analytics too, which we are representing to the management like this. You should aware about Google Sheets. Yes, there are lots of payroll softwares too, Paychecks, ADP, QuickBooks. These are the tools which are using for statutory compliances and payroll handling. These types of very much certification are there. You can able to have a explore XLRI, IMS, this type of, those who are willing to work on completely IR types of profile. The manufacturing industry is compulsory having IR, industrial relations profile, those who HRs are handling. So you must aware about labor laws. There are lots of certification on labor law institutes, UDMI, on these types of, yes. And moving forward the career in HR, there are HRBP certification from SHRM. That is one thing. That is also one good insight for HR. This is one open forum that you can go for the certification. Yes, there are analytic certification like Coursera. These are very much things. Yes, learning and development certification. Yes, and for me, yes, recently just like moving towards the higher position or step up in the career. Yes, we should have a being a HR profession, you should have a like post act compliances, which is mandatory for each and every organization now. So this is also one thing. So you should have a compliances for post act. You can go for a learning and train the trainer program. You can go for the compliances for this. These are various courses available on digital media.
So when we look at we need to look at both technical skills and soft skills. See, technical skills people can look at from their career progression, from like basic excel to advanced excel. Then you have like power bi, then how do you operate the hrms software. So each industry will have a different software utility, so that can be worked out. But
Yeah.
I would say the key focus the hr individuals has to look at is, at an entry level they need to be good, have attention to detail, time management and communication skills. That is very much required at the entry level. And mid level they need to look at how do they solve problems. So problem solving, stakeholder management and data integration would be very critical, because they need to be strategy and they need to take care of mis. And how do you look at those verticals. When we look at a still more a higher level, we are looking at leadership skill, change management and strategy. So strategic thinking and problem solving becomes very critical, along with agility and adaptability. So those kind of soft skills are expected from the hr, because now hr is expected to take care of anything and everything. So we need to be prepared for handling situation. It's like handling risk, identification of risk, litigating that risk and mitigating that risk. Everything the hr has to take care.
I mean, thanks for a detailed understanding. I think that will give a lot of motivation for people who are thinking of entering into the HR career.